You have to have your brown belt for at least 1 year before you could schedule the exam for the black belt. Now, during that time, you have to accumulate 100 points. So you need 100 points and you need to have your brown belt for at least 1 year before you can do the exam. What's up guys, Hong Nguyen here, OG Fitness. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new, this channel is all about fitness for judo and martial arts for older guys. I'm 46 years old. I have a black belt in judo, a blue belt in BJJ, and I'm a lifelong martial artist. In this video, we're gonna talk about how to get from brown belt to black belt in judo. So I'm gonna read you guys the question and then we'll get into it. Hey Hong, been watching your videos for years. Thanks for the awesome content. I have a question that nobody has ever been able to really answer for me. In judo, I understand that it is very competition oriented. Like in BJJ, you can just come to class and roll and keep moving up the ranks. But in judo, you have to earn points to get your first dan. Can you explain that? Or maybe post a link to a resource that explains it. I have been to all of the Federation websites and none of their charts make sense to me. I mean, I get it. I'm not an idiot. I can do math. But it seems like these charts are designed for people who are already doing judo. Then I have friends who do judo and they all disagree with each other about the earning of points and how that works. I'm like, WTF? How does it work? Do you start earning points at the lower belts or does the clock start ticking at brown? A friend of mine said that you can earn points doing kata, running the time clock, etc., etc. It just doesn't really make sense to me. I know this is a long comment, but seriously, I have not heard one definitive answer yet. Thanks, man. Hope you are having a great day. Today is your lucky day, so we're gonna get into this, and I'll make it clear how it works, at least in Canada. So I want to start by saying that every country is slightly different, but generally it's the same. Now, the Western countries versus the Eastern countries, I think there's bigger differences. But those of you guys who know, put that down in the comment and let me know if I make a mistake or if you agree. And then of course, if you know about Japan, Korea, and all that, put it down in comments. It's going to be good for everybody, I believe. So me, I got my black belt in Canada. In Canada, the way it works is that your coach, your club gives you every single belt up until brown belt. After that, it's out of their hands. They can't give you brown belt anymore. Sorry, black belt. They can't give you a black belt. So once you have your brown belt, that's when you can start accumulating points. Before that, if there is such a thing, in regards to accumulating points, they don't actually count towards your black belt. Once you get brown, those points are essentially, I guess, in the garbage. So brown belt, now it starts. And whatever points you earn, you're going to be able to use for your black belt. You have to have your brown belt for at least 1 year before you could schedule the exam for the black belt. Now, during that time, you have to accumulate 100 points. So you need 100 points and you need to have your brown belt for at least 1 year before you can do the exam. Now the points. Every year that you have your brown belt and you're registered with the federation, because every year you have to pay your federation fees, you get 25 points. Now if you do absolutely nothing, you don't compete, you don't go to seminars, then what's going to happen is you'll have 100 points in 4 years. But that's a long time to wait. You can wait that long, but you might not want to. You might want to. It really depends what your priorities are and how fast you want it. So you can wait that long, and then during that time, after 4 years, then you can take your exam. And at the exam, you're going to have to demonstrate the kata as well as the gokyo. Now the gokyo is all the techniques in judo for the black belt. There's a lot, but there's only about 40 or so techniques. Once again, I might be a little bit off there, so guys, correct me in the comments. So about 40 techniques that you have to know for your black belt. They're not going to ask you all of those. They're going to ask you about maybe 10 of those, but you have to know them by heart, because when they call them out, well, you have to know what they're talking about. Now, if you want to get your points as fast as possible, you'll have to compete. Now, competition would be the fastest way because every time you register for a competition, you get like 10 points right off the bat. And then from there, every ippon that you score is 10 points. Every wazari, 5 points. So you see how fast it could actually go. It depends on how many fights you have in one competition, how many of them you win. So then, it could take you 1 or 2 competitions, 3 competitions, or it could take you the whole season to accumulate all those points. Now, if you go to seminars, you could get points as well. But the thing with seminars is that they don't give a lot of points. It's less than 10 points. It's like 5 points. You pay for a seminar, you go there, you practice judo, you learn some stuff, but you only get 5 points. That's how it works. Now, in regards to earning points through kata, in Canada, it doesn't work that way. You can't earn points by doing kata. And I think maybe what your friend means is doing a kata competition. Now, in Canada, you could do that. You could do a kata competition, and when you register, you get 10 points because you're doing a competition. But then, regardless of if you get on the podium or not, you'll get a paper, a kind of a certificate that will say that you did a kata competition and that your kata was good enough, so you don't have to present it again at the exam. Now, a lot of people do this because at the exam, it's less stress. So you don't have to present the kata and then do the gokyo. So now you only have to do the gokyo. So that's maybe where what your friend meant in regards to using kata to earn points, maybe. Because you don't actually earn points doing the kata, you earn points by registering for the competition, and then you don't have to present the kata because, well, you did a competition. Now, what I just explained to you is the technical route, okay? There's also a competition route. The competition route, though, this only applies, if I'm not mistaken, to people who are on a team. They're on the team, and there's 3 teams. So there's I'm gonna butcher this, but basically there's like the lowest ranking team, then there's the mid-level, and then after that there's the elite or something like that. Actually, I didn't really butcher it. Guys, if you're enjoying this video, just take the time to like the video and subscribe, right? Click on the notification bell. It helps the channel grow. And dude, guys, I really appreciate it. So back to the video. I just don't know the words. So I just used, the entry-level team, then mid-level team, and then you got like, the elite team. So if you're in one of those teams, then basically you're competing all the time, and then you're going to end up getting your points. It's not even going to be an issue. And then once you're ready for your black belt, it's time for you to get it. You're eligible because you had it for a year. Now you have your enough points. Then you just do like a weekend seminar, right? Where they show you the kata, you go over some stuff of the gokyo, and then boom, you get your black belt like that. And I've actually had a friend, funny story, who went through the competition route, and he could have easily gotten his black belt because he was a competitor, he was on the team, he was doing very well. He could have just did a weekend and got his black belt, but his sensei forced him to do the technical route, to do the exam, and to present the kata and the gokyo because he understands the value of it. Now, a lot of people they don't care about that, and I disagree with that. I think that the kata is important. After doing it myself, I realized, no, there's actually a lot of insight, a lot of foundational things that you need to understand that helps your judo tremendously later on for your own judo, and at the same time, if you want to teach judo later on, it has tremendous value, the kata. So those are the 2 routes, the technical route and the competitive route. The competitive route, well, it's for competitors. Even though competitors who are on a team, one of the 3 teams, I got all my points through competition. Well, I mean, yeah, I registered, to the federation, paid my fees, got my 25 points, and all the rest I got from competition, my points. I didn't do any seminars. I just competed, and yeah, and that was that. regarding your comment about how judo is very competition oriented, well, it is if you're a kid. If you're a kid starting out, like that's what they do. They're you're gonna train and then you're gonna compete every practically every weekend, so to speak. You know, you're gonna run around and you don't have to, but you know that's usually what kids who enjoy judo. It's fun. It's fun because you're training with your friends, and all your friends are going to compete, and it's kind of like a field trip. You know, it's like having a field trip every few weeks. You know, and sometimes a couple of weeks back to back. So it's kind of like a fun thing for kids. Now, if you're an adult, you don't have to do that. You could just, the same way as BJJ, come in, train, do your thing, and then you get your belts as you progress. Your coach, if he's not crazy, will have different criterias for you because you're an adult starting judo. And he'll give the belts as you move forward and you progress. But at the same time, if you do compete, then yes, you'll get your belts faster. It's the same thing in BJJ as well. If you just go to class, roll, yeah, you'll eventually get your belts. But if you compete, then you'll probably get your belts a little bit faster as well because, well, you're going to improve faster. Because competition, really, I would say, if you have the time, you have to look at it as part of your training. Because when you go to competition, that's when you're going to see if you could perform under pressure, and you'll discover your strengths and weaknesses at the same time. And then when you come back to your club, then you kind of have a much better understanding of what you need to work on. But in BJJ, all the belts, even from brown to black, is given by your coach. He's the one that decides if you get it or not. But in judo, no. You get to brown, no one's holding you back. Now you just have to go get your points and then wait a year and schedule that exam. Of course, you got to present the kata and the gokyo, so you have to learn that. So usually, just as a side note, the way most people like to do it is that they like to get all the points first, get that out of the way, and then from there, you know, you sit your ass down and you focus on learning the kata and learning the gokyo. That's it for this video. So guys, please comment down below. If I made a mistake, correct me and let me know how it works in your country. If it's similar, what are the little differences, or if there's a big difference. If you guys know how it works in Japan and in Korea, and maybe possibly any other country where it's like really different, then write it down below, and you know what, I'll make a video on those too, because it's an interesting subject, and I think that it's very interesting to see how other countries go about it. Now one thing I gotta say though is that in Japan, black belt is not a big deal, but in Canada it is, which is kind of funny. But in both cases, and in Canada as well, it's like black belt is like the beginning, right? It's the beginning of your journey. It means that you've mastered and understood the fundamentals, and now you could build upon it. Now in Japan, it's seen as no big deal because a lot of them start so young, and then by the time they get their black belt, like their fundamentals have been already in place a long time ago. For them, it's just a formality. But with that said though, one thing I'm thinking about now is, if you're a kid starting young, when you get your black belt, it's kind of like just a formality, whether you're in Japan or you're in Canada. But if you're an adult starting out and then you get your black belt, well, then yes, it's definitely an achievement, but it's still the beginning of the journey. All right, I hope that made sense, guys. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.